Howdy y'all, Stock Warden here, back with another video. Today we're looking at Archer Aviation, and man has this stock decided to soar. So the last time that we checked on this stock, we had checked it back on Friday, September the 19th, where they had just gotten into the breakthrough of this past resistance line that they had. And man, over the past couple of weeks, they have blown past even the higher breakthrough line, where now they are completely trending into a solid bull path right now. So, and there are some really good news coming in that's going to show that they are going to continue to be a good buy even at the price that they are at now, getting really close back up to their 52-week high. So if you look at where the stock is currently trending, where they closed today at $12.46 a share, that area is not necessarily a point of resistance that I could quite tell. We did have a bottom and a top on today's closing and yesterday's closing, and then you go all the way back to July 17th where we had a bottom on a green candle, not necessarily the close, but on the opening, was at 1238. So you're getting relatively close to where I guess you could call it a somewhat resistance line, because it's such a large and broad gap from where it was originally down here at the 1050 mark. So I would put more of a stance up here on the top, where we would have a top breakthrough lane anywhere between this 13, where on this day you had a close of 1340, and then here we had a close on 1311, and then we had our 52-week high closing at 1364. So I would draw a solid line at 1345 for a resistance line up here at the top end of everything. Just kind of going off of where we ended up closing today and yesterday, and also on previous candles, looking at anywhere within that 245 to 250, I'm sorry, 1245 to 1250 range would kind of be the next bump I would see for this system. But there is another mid-range as well. Let me go ahead and get rid of all of our old resistance levels here, because we are well past all of that now, with them doing such a great job with a lot of their partnerships that they've been having now. So we're going to come in and look roughly in the 1145 range, because we had quite a few, let's see, let me get it right there. We had quite a few different bottoms and tops all circling roughly about the same, where we had quite a few bottom and top candles ended up where we had some good openings, closings, and then whenever we got on our bearish trend over here, so, and then we kind of ended with a little bit of a breakthrough, you know, just last week before we really shot up and seen something amazing. So with all of that, we're looking really good just in the natural movement of this stock on how it's projecting up. So it did have a little bit of a pullback over the past 2 days, but it is showing promise that it's going to continue back into this solid trend. And the reason being is because if you look at where we're at specifically on today, the shares of the company alone have gained over 60% in the past month. So, and in that same amount of time, the entire aerospace sector gained over 5%, while the S&P was only able to gain 4%. So with all of that, we're very anxious for the upcoming earnings release for Archer Aviation, which is something that I'm absolutely waiting to see on what's going to end up happening, because they had, if you come over here and look on this side, their earnings report for Q3 of 25 is estimated at a 0.3, which is a lot lower than what their original estimate was for Q2. So with it kind of having a downtrend on their earnings estimate, it's going to be interesting to see where they actually fall. I believe with such a uptick in the buy on Archer Aviation and some of the contracts and the partnerships that they have had, that they are definitely going to be beating this earnings estimate for sure. So that, and then so they have the report on the EPS at 0.3. They're showcasing a 16.6% upward movement from the corresponding quarter of the prior year. So, but if you look at the entire year in its entirety, estimates are forecasting an earning of 0.78 per share, which is going to end up indicating a change of over 30% in the stock. So with an over 30% on the stock, and I guess you could probably take an average of about $10 to $12 a share, then a 30% increase or over 30% increase is going to continue pushing the stock at $13 to $15 a share on a reflection of just their earnings basis on top of their potentials to be able to bring in more businesses for their eVTOL systems. So, but there's also more positive revisions in these estimates that are conveying different analysis confidence in this business. So they are absolutely looking at their performance and their profit potential and noticing that it's going to be able to continue moving in the same direction. So right now, Zach's rank system, that's set from a 1 to a 5, where 1 is a strong buy and 5 is a strong sell. They have it set right now at a number 1, meaning that Zach's believes that they are a strong buy, even as high as it is right now, going into this almost 52-week high-ish, level at where we're at right now, with such a high peak where we've been. So that's something that's really awesome to see as well. But on the backside of some of the great news and partnerships that they've been coming through with is the Cleveland Clinic Abu Dhabi and Archer Aviation is going to launch UAE's hospital-based vertiport for eVTOL air taxis and organ transport. So the companies are going to be exploring both non-emergency passenger use cases and time-critical organ transport, and the locations are going to expand Archer's planned network following the recent hybrid vertiport approval at Abu Dhabi Cruise Terminal, which is marking yet another step forward in Archer's plan to unlock operations across their large capital. So, and the vertiport is also planned to provide electric air taxi access to the Cleveland Clinic Abu Dhabi, and they are also going to be the first hospital-based vertiport under the General Civil Aviation Authority under a new hybrid conversion framework to be able to get these eVTOL systems inside and working faster than having to wait on all kind of different FAA rules and regulations. Because this is kind of going to be, I guess you could call it, a small bit of a loophole on how Archer Aviation is going to be able to slide in and start actually pushing people and products with their eVTOL flight system and their air taxis. So with all of this, Cleveland Clinic Abu Dhabi, in partnership with Archer Aviation, they are they are having a goal to enable passengers to be able to travel from Cleveland Clinic to nearby locations, dramatically reducing travel times compared to your traditional ground transportation, whether it be bus, subway, or car. So the two companies are specifically exploring both non-emergency passenger use and time-critical organ transport. So the operations will utilize Midnight, which is Archer's electric aircraft designed to carry up to 4 passengers while producing less noise and emissions than a traditional helicopter. And they're going to use the planned passenger carrying cabin configuration for both purposes. So it's not going to be their large flagship air taxi that we had been looking at and seeing. This is going to be a little bit more of a downsized version of what they have. So then they'll be able to get it up and running a lot sooner as well, because then that means with it being smaller, it'll also be able to be built and manufactured faster and easier and cheaper as well. So with Archer Aviation jumping into pretty much the healthcare sector and transportation for the healthcare sector, that's going to bring them even more business and bring in even more investors for Archer Aviation, because a hospital and an airport are the two places that I know of that are absolutely insane to try to get in and out of by any other means of transportation. It doesn't matter whether you take a bus, you take a train, you take a subway, you take a car. It is a headache and a half. So, or at least in my experience, it has. And to think that you could get on a small helicopter in a smaller field area where you can be picked up and brought over a short distance and be brought directly to your terminal of where you needed to be, or be able to bring you directly to the hospital that you need to be at, and things of that nature, that is going to be something that is huge for Archer, because that's going to put more regular people using their systems instead of thinking of your million and billionaires that are going to be using them to hop from one skyscraper to the next in the big cities, which is where they were technically looking at first. Then they were branching over into doing the 2026 Olympics, which is going to be another huge thing for Archer Aviation as well, to get regular people onto their platform. So, but this, I think this is going to end up pushing them sooner than even the Olympics, because this is something that you really can't look at and go, well, they could take years on this, or they can take their time, no big deal. But with this and them being partnered, and I believe it's already going to start being built here in the short term, and they're going to be up and off the ground in no time. So y'all be ready for all of that. And the next video I run on Archer Aviation, I will be doing their Q3 earnings report, because that should come in here in just the next couple of weeks. So stick around and be ready for that one, along with all the other awesome stocks and videos that I'll have coming through. I am planning and trying to see about making a live stream, so then we can cover a lot more of the market and also various stocks at the same time, instead of just focusing on one at one time, where I think I'm going to try to do one live a week, maybe on a Friday night or a Saturday afternoon type deal. But unfortunately, I do not have the subscribers to be able to start doing a live stream yet. So if y'all like the videos and y'all want to see more, and if y'all want to check out a live stream for the market and go into depths with all of that, then y'all don't forget to subscribe and jump in on this, so then we can all get in on a lot more market cap. I can produce out more information and also answer a lot of different questions that y'all might have on some of the specific stocks that I cover, and we could also go over a lot of other stocks at the same time as well. So, with that being said, this is the Stock Warden riding off. So y'all come back now, you hear?